Meat equals protein, right? How much should we be eating? What are the different varieties? Chicken, pork, beef, lamb. Today we're going to talk about how much, what the difference is between grass-fed, conventional, organic, and as a former vegetarian, I'm super excited to talk about this. Welcome to Sarah RD TV. If you enjoy steak like my family does and you want to enjoy it a few times a week, you really have to pay attention to how lean your meat is. Why? Because saturated fat is kind of a big deal with heart disease, and we want to choose the leanest cuts of beef, pork, and chicken. So, unfortunately, you're going to say, oh, but Sarah, it's not going to have any flavor. There's no marbling, there's no white fat in there. Well, I'm going to show you how to make a very delicious round steak recipe that we enjoy and my clients enjoy, and it's very low saturated fat, very high in flavor, and it will help to lower your heart disease risk. So conventional meat right now is lower in saturated fat than any time in history. Why? Because of what the animals are eating on the farms and the way that they are cut. So you want to aim for a round steak or sirloin, top sirloin. Those will be the leanest and have the lowest amounts of saturated fat. Of course, we know that saturated fat is linked to heart disease, so we still want to have low amounts of that, 10% or less of our calories from saturated fat. All the labels will show you how much saturated fat is in there. If it's not directly on the label, it should have a poster near the meat section of the grocery store. So we're making drunken mushroom beef. And what I have done so far is sauteed some mushrooms. It's super simple. You start with the mushrooms, you saute them. Obviously I'm using a grill pan, or you could saute them on a flat surface and grill your meat. You're going to saute them a few minutes. You can add some garlic. If you don't have garlic or shallot, you can add garlic powder. A little bit of salt. I like just whatever your favorite sea salt is. You're going to brown these for a few minutes, and then we're going to take them off the heat while we prepare our steak. Okay, so I'm seasoning just with a simple black pepper and a little bit of sea salt. Use your favorite salt. This happens to have a little bit of thyme and lemon in it, but I like that, but you can use whatever. And I'm seasoning the other side while that side goes. Of course, like I said, this is a very lean cut of meat, so it's only going to take a few minutes per side. Most people that I know like a medium rare to medium, and instead of going by touch or feel, which I know some people go by that, I prefer to use the good old thermometer to tell me when it's done. So if you want medium rare, we want to take it off the grill or grill pan about 5 degrees before you want it. So that means we're going to take it off about 140. So we'll just leave that for a few minutes. And meanwhile, I have already grilled some zucchini. I'm going to grill up some avocado and peaches to go with this, and of course, baked potatoes. One of the questions consumers ask me is, which is better? I should be eating grass-fed beef, right? So I've talked to enough farmers to understand that grass-fed, speaking from a nutrition standpoint, does not have much more nutrition than conventional. That being said, maybe you've read some research about, oh, but Sarah, it's higher in omega-3s. The amount of omega-3s that is in grass-fed is not up to par with other higher sources. So stick with your fish, definitely. If you even want to take a supplement, you're definitely going to get more than you would from any kind of beef. So again, when you're choosing beef, you still want to stick with the lean cuts most of the time. So already we can see that the temperature is rising, and I want to take it off at about 135 to 140. Oh my goodness, it's so close. So at this point I'm going to take it out. I'm going to add the red wine because we want it to simmer just for a few seconds. We're going to add a little bit of Worcestershire sauce because that also adds a nice depth of flavor. And then I'm going to add the mushrooms back just for a second, but we're going to take the steak off while that is still simmering. So we have garlic, shallots, the steak, red wine, Worcestershire, and then thyme. Okay, we're adding a little bit of thyme, and this will just, actually it kind of smells amazing right now. We're going to let that simmer for just a few seconds. We do not want to have the meat overcooked, which I have been criticized for doing many, many times. So in a second we're going to take it off. Okay, so it's up to 140, which is perfect. I'm going to take this off, let it sit. I'm going to let the mushrooms hang out just for a few minutes. And I'm going to grab some foil, tent this so that it stays nice and moist and doesn't dry out. So the next question is, how much protein should I be eating with my meals? This, I would think, would feed 4 people. Getting about 3 to 6 ounces per meal, that would be breakfast, lunch, and dinner, is the perfect amount to build your muscle, be satisfied, balance it with a lot of vegetables. I'm going to add a baked potato to this, a salad, and some fruit, and that's just enough to give you the right amount of calories and the protein that you need to sustain a great life.
The spice is good and makes it moist.
Yeah. That's it.